Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Property Guide on ET Now. This show is your one-stop guide for all property investments in the country. If you have feedback or a question about buying a home or getting a home loan, write to us. Our email ID is flashing at the bottom of your screen. You can also reach me personally on Twitter. It'll be my pleasure to hear from you. The RBI has cut the repo rate by 25 basis points. We'll find out what this means to you as a home buyer. We'll answer questions you sent in on the NCR and Mumbai. And is virtual reality starting to change the way we go house hunting? In the studio with me, Ashutosh Limay, Head of Research at JLL India, and Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at magicbricks.com. It always makes me very happy to have two research guests in the studio. It does mean that we'll have a show that's loaded with numbers. Now, we know that Governor Raghuram Rajan, after the budget announcement, gave us a surprise rate cut of 25 basis points. Now, this is the second rate cut we've had this year. The move, of course, is something the city's real estate developers have been telling us they've been waiting for a very, very long time, and they're expecting this to be the trigger to move up our market. Ashutosh, we've been talking about triggers now for nearly 2 years, and nothing has really worked for this industry. Will a 25 basis point cut or a 50 basis point cut, if that's the case, will that be the trigger? And before that, how long is it going to be before banks pass on those rates, that reduction on through the mortgage rates for the rest of us?
I think it will act as a trigger, particularly in that segment of housing which is catering to a lower middle housing or the middle income housing. There, every rupee saved matters a lot. So I think that is the segment where we will see more traction in next few weeks. The banks will be happy to pass on the benefit to the end users. For them, end users are the home loan borrowers. But generally, there is a lag of time. Usually 3 to 6 weeks is when the benefit is passed on. And I do expect another rate cut of 25 basis points in the next few weeks.
Okay, if I get the timeline correctly, now you're expecting another rate cut which might come in maybe in another month or so?
Let's hope so. If not month, certainly within 2 months or so.
All right. Well, Jayashree, come in here. Now, Ashutosh told us that the largest impact will be felt by low and middle income housing. Which cities do you believe will feel that impact first? It's obviously not going to be Mumbai because there isn't as much low and middle income housing being built in Mumbai. But out of the markets you will see will be impacted, which ones do you think will feel the impact first?
I think it will be largely in markets like Noida, where the rates are already, it is the lower middle income can actually enter the market and buy purchase property here. You will also see impact in markets like Chennai, Hyderabad, which are not overpriced and which the middle and lower middle can enter comfortably. But Faye, just to stop for a minute and tell you that it is not a significant cut for the consumer to feel the difference. It's a very small cut. But in terms of sentiment, it really boosts the sentiment because, like Ashutosh said, it is clearly that the RBI is conservative. It is still given a small amount of rate cut, so better times to come. So that is how the whole thing will play out. But in terms of actual money in hand, I don't think it's too much that the consumer will get because the government has already increased the service tax.
In fact, yes, that's the next thing I was going to ask you about, Jayashree. Last week, when we were talking to members of the industry themselves about what impact the service tax will have, most of them agreed that the service tax put directly and indirectly on customers will result in a 1% increase in property prices across the board. Now, won't that offset entirely any sort of reduction that the RBI gives us in interest rates?
Absolutely. It actually will. So, which is why I said that it will not seriously impact the consumer's wallet so much. It is the consumer sentiment that if the government has not given me much or actually taken away from me as far as the housing sector is concerned, at least the RBI is giving me some assurance that there are better times to come. But clearly it's only sentiment and there's going to be no extra money in the consumer's pocket. In fact, I think it's a little money out of the going away from the consumer's pocket.
That's disappointing. I remember reading a statistic that said that every 1% reduction in rates will result in a 7% reduction on my EMI net. But like Jayashree is telling us, that actually gets completely offset by the service, the service tax.
I think what Jayashree brought up is partially true. And why I am using the word partially, because we have cities in India where we have properties which are completed and lying unsold. I think those are the ones where there is clear benefit to the buyers, because for completed properties, there is no service tax applicable. It is applicable only for properties under construction. So given the current market scenario where we have high unsold inventories, and a fraction of that being completed yet unsold inventories, there I think the buyers will get benefit. But those who plan to buy in under construction units, yes, there is that effect that getting offsetted.
All right, so the clear message that you're giving out right now is, yes, we'll have lower interest rates. It does make sense to go out and buy something that's complete. Which, does it have to be a first sale, a second sale? As long as it's not under construction, I don't have to pay service tax.
That's right. That's right. So if somebody wants to save that, I think completed properties is clearly option number one that they should look at.
All right, completed properties is a good idea. Jayashree, I want advice from you for anybody who's buying a house right now. And we do know there are a lot of people who've considered this for a while. They've been, in fact, waiting for exactly this, waiting for interest rates to come down, waiting for some sort of key or foresight, forecast into sentiment. So give us advice. Ashutosh told us to consider only homes that are completely, ready for possession. That way I don't have to pay any service tax. Is there anything else we should keep in mind if you're buying a home right now?
We would say that right now is the time when you should be there's so much stock in the market. Go out and search for your property, find your property. But I see this market actually taking off another 3 to 4 months at least from now, which really is August, September of this year, when I think the consumers will have found their properties and the market would have corrected itself. The RBI would have given whatever interest rate cuts have to be given. But this is a good time, a really good time to go out and negotiate, because while developers are not willing to drop prices, the rack rates are not coming down, but there's a lot of negotiation going on. While upfront they're not going to drop from 4,500 to say 4,000 or something like that, but the added benefits that they're giving are really good. So go out and negotiate, because another 4 months down the line, you may not have the same negotiating power that you have today.
All right, so now is a good time to negotiate. I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to take you slightly out of your comfort zone here and talk to you about mortgages in general. The fact that even the housing loan market is a very competitive market right now, because if people have not been buying homes for the last 3 years, it means that home loans have not been selling for the last 3 years. So for existing customers who have been with a certain home loan for a couple of years or maybe longer than that, and when the interest rate starts to be passed on to customers, there will be offers in the market from home loan companies as well. Does it make sense for me to relook at completely refinancing my project entirely?
Absolutely. I think in most deals, there will be a certain lock-in period in which if you change, then you have to pay a certain penalty. But those who have crossed that lock-in period, 100% they should look out for different deals that are available, switching home loan service providers, renegotiating the terms with the bank. So banks, while they want to attract more or fresh home loan borrowers, it is critical for them to retain the existing customers.
Especially if I have a good record.
Absolutely. And I think Indians have a very good track record in terms of repaying the loans. So their credit worthiness is quite high.
All right, so there you have it. It is the time and the season for negotiating. So you have to negotiate with a builder. Ashutosh and both Jayashree agreeing that buy a home as close to completion, if not complete, so that you can avoid service tax entirely. And of course, negotiate, like Jayashree said and Ashutosh said, with your bank or your lender to make sure you get better terms. Now stay with us as we take a very quick break. Both of our guests are going to stay with us as well. We'll talk about the NCR and the Mumbai market when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Property Guide in ET. Now, both of our guests are still with us. Ashutosh and Jayashree head research at their respective organizations, which makes them great people to answer questions for you. This week, our first question comes in from Dheeraj. Dheeraj wants to buy a 2-bedroom apartment of about 1,000 square feet in the NCR for end use. He has a budget of about 50 lakh rupees. Now, he wants to know if he should consider resale properties in Sector 16 or 17 in Dwarka, or should he consider new apartments in the L zone of Sector 21 in Dwarka as well. Please give me a good project recommendation. Jayashree, do you want to take this? In the NCR, 50 lakh rupees around Dwarka, should he be looking at resale or new apartments?
He does get a few projects, very few projects in Dwarka. His budget is a little low for Dwarka. But if he does get some societies in Dwarka, I think it is in Sector 16 and 21, he can get some options. But I would like to caution him here. When the prices are low, these are largely the DDA apartments, which are old apartments, roughly about 15, 20 years old, and you will get it on resale. Check out the legality of the property, check out the titles very carefully. There have been multiple sales in this period of time, and you would want to be sure that the property title is legal. But it's the DDA properties that are coming at these rates, not the society units. The second thing is he's asked for the L zone. The DDA has put out an advisory saying do not buy in the L zone because the planning process is not complete. There are no approvals. There are lots of people who are selling to retail users, but please do not buy in the L zone. It is very, very risky for a small investor.
All right, especially if you're an end user and you're hoping to live in that apartment, like Jayashree says, the legal due diligence is of paramount importance because you don't want to part with your money and then realize that the papers are not completely in order or you're not getting possession on time. So keep all of that in mind, and if you need any more help, we're always here to help you, and it'll be our pleasure to help you with anything you need. Our next question comes in from Talib, who writes in saying he's currently residing in Dubai, but he's from Mumbai. He's looking to buy a 2-bedroom apartment, and he's interested in the Godrej Sky project in Baikala in Mumbai. He said the project is scheduled for completion in 2019. Would this be a good investment for the price appreciation point of view in the next 5 to 8 years? One problem here is that he'll have to pay service tax, the added service tax, and the fact that it's under construction. The good thing is Baikala is becoming an up-and-coming neighborhood because of its proximity to, the central business district right now. So of the various projects available in Baikala that are under construction, would you recommend the Godrej Sky project?
I would. I think Baikala as a location is coming out really well. It's close to the business districts, and now it will have the benefit of some of the infrastructure initiatives as well. So very good location. It's very close from the Mumbai Zoo, the Rani Bagh. So on higher floors you will get very good views, and I think the developer is quite reputable. Godrej have got the brand name, they have got that brand value, yes. and property prices in Godrej projects have always delivered good returns. So and another good point about this is 2 BHK configuration, which is becoming rarer and rarer, particularly in South and South Central Mumbai. So if somebody is looking at a 2 BHK apartment, very few options, and this option I would highly recommend because of the credibility of the developer. 2 BHK as a configuration, location is great, and above all, the pricing is sub 24,000 rupees a square foot. So I think that's a great deal.
Especially since he's an NRI and he's not going to be here to personally manage or to monitor, it makes sense that he pays the extra buck to go with a reputed developer.
Absolutely, absolutely. He wants to buy a piece of his mind, and I think Godrej will do that for him.
All right, so 2 thumbs up there for you. We hope that helps, and of course you can get back in touch with us. We have a question from Sumit, who's written in. He's looking to buy property in Bhiwadi by the Ashiana Group with a budget of 40 lakh rupees. Now the project is called Ashiana Town Beta. He wants to know what returns he can expect in the next 5 years. Jayashree, I know this sort of question always puts you on the spot when we ask you to actually predict returns over 5 years, but could you help him out? What would you recommend he does?
I would tell Sumit that Ashiana is the leader in that market, and if you're a leader, you will get the best appreciation in that market. Now look at Bhiwadi as a location. Bhiwadi's fortunes are actually linked to the DMIC corridor. It is right there, and if the DMIC corridor does take off very soon, then Bhiwadi is poised for a quantum leap. But remember that right now in Bhiwadi, the appreciation has only been about 5% in 2 years. It hasn't been very significant appreciation, but you get a steady rental return of about 6.5, 7 to 9,000. That's what you're getting. There is steady, regular demand right now, but if DMIC takes off, you'll get a much better return.
All right, so we hope that helps. Now, we have a very, very interesting question from Shrikar, who's written in. He tells us that he's looking to get the best possible return on his investment. He wants both capital appreciation and a regular income, and he's confused on whether he can get that from residential property or from commercial projects. Now, he was advised that if he invests in commercial projects, he can expect a return of 10% as rental income. He wants to know if that's really true, and if it's so, what are the best projects to invest in Bangalore and Hyderabad. He says he's okay with other locations as well, provided he gets the right return for his money. Just on the offset on that question, off the bat, Shrikar, I want to remind you that real estate is not your only option right now. There are several other options in the market, from debt, equity, various other asset classes that you should also be considering if a regular income is what you hope to raise. Now, he has not told us what his budget is. So even if we're looking at commercial property, we don't know if he can afford to consider office space, or he's looking at shops, or what he's looking at. But purely on the principle of it, are we in a market where commercial space will generate higher and better returns than residential homes?
I think one needs to here understand the different types of returns. And by that I mean that be it office or shop, it will not give you a significant capital appreciation in the short term, but it will give you good regular returns on rental basis. So commercial properties typically will give 10% to 12% annual returns, but on an annual basis, the property prices may rise just by 5 to 6%. Whereas in residential, it's the other way around. The capital appreciation will be good. In most of the times, it's 10% or more. We are not in that phase currently, so it could be sub 10% also. But by and large, it gives you more than 10% on an annual basis. But the yields are pretty low. So 3%, 4%, that kind of annual returns one can make. So one has to look at this as a combination. If he is more interested to earn a regular rental income, then commercial properties will give him a better return. If he wants to sell it off after a while and cash on to the rent plus capital appreciation game, then residential properties are good for him.
All right. In fact, also, I mean, we would recommend that you seek advice specific to your case, because whoever gives you advice on this needs to understand what your goals are, what kind of money you're investing, what you need, so you can narrow down really on the right location, and keep in mind what sort of effort it will take to manage an investment like this. Let's take one last question. Praveen has written in, please suggest some good areas where I can buy land in Chennai. He says with a budget of 5 to 7 lakh rupees, what appreciation can I expect? Jayashree, can he buy land in Chennai for 7 lakh rupees?
Chennai is about the only city where you can get a lot of options for land in a sub 10 lakh category. He can get a lot of land across Chennai, Singaperumal, Koil, Padappai. These are areas where you can get land in this budget, 6 to 7 lakhs. You should be able to get about, I think roughly you would get about 550 to about 900 square feet land.
So remember, as a small investor, you have to be on your guard, especially when it comes to buying land in India. But we are right here to hold your hand if you need any help. That's a wrap on this segment. So Jayashree and Ashutosh, thank you so much for spending time with us and answering all of our questions. If you have a question for us, write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Stay tuned. On the other side, Vikas Malpani of Common Floor comes in with a really interesting device that might change the way you and I go house hunting. That's on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching The Property Guide in ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. I have a very special treat for you. A wonderful guest in the studio. Vikas Malpani is one of the co-founders of commonfloor.com. And he's brought in a little toy for us to play with. And this is really interesting. And I thought it's interesting for you to find out as well. So tell us what this is and what does it do. It does look a little bit, and I don't know if you're going to get upset, I'm going to say this, it looks a little bit like the Google Glass.
Actually, it's not the Google Glass. Google Glass is the one which has the recorder on top of it. It is adaptation from Google Cardboard open specification.
Okay.
So this is world's first mass consumer virtual reality device.
Okay.
Specifically in real estate. And this, again, as I said, this world's first. So that you can sit at your home and do a site visit. You can literally watch a property, experience a property sitting there. So it's called as Common Floor Retina.
Okay.
The magic in this is that it works on your mobile device.
Okay.
Right? So it just works on a mobile device. You select the Retina app. The app looks something, once you have selected the right app for the project, you put it inside, pack this and have a view. You don't even need to use your glasses.
Okay.
You just have a look at that. And as and when you would like to look at the next scene or the next location, you just need to flick this.
Entrance to the Shobha Indraprastha Society.
So you get a guided tour to a property which is not yet on ground.
Okay. So basically, instead of doing a site visit, I can just actually do this in the comfort of my home. That's the point of this. All right, I'm going to try it out. Just strap this on?
Yes, just strap it on. And you can look around.
We are now in the dining area connected to the kitchen and the family room. On the left, you will also see the guest bedroom. The area is 16 feet 1 inches by 13 feet 1 inches.
This actually feels like being inside the home.
The area provides ample space in the kitchen. Connected to this is also the utility room.
So tell me something. How do I know for sure that these are the specifications? This is the kind of space that we're looking at, both downstairs in the apartment.
So what we actually do is we work with the developers. We take their CAD drawings, the actual architecture plans, and then we reconstruct that into 3D models for the places which are not yet constructed. In cases where we already have a model flat, we actually use the actual images of the model flat.
Okay.
So it is as good as going to the model flat itself.
Okay, so if I get this correctly, all I have to do is have access to this little cardboard box.
Yes.
And my own cell phone,
Yes.
I download the app, I slip my cell phone in.
Yes.
Use a little Velcro piece and put it on.
Yes.
Okay, so how many apartments or how many different properties do you have?
So
on
we
this
just
system?
launched about 2 weeks back. We already have 20 projects. We aim to have close to 1,000 projects in the next 4 to 5 months. And we are working round the clock to ensure that every property has the retina experience. Because it not only saves you a lot of time, it also saves you a lot of money. And more importantly, in cases where you actually want your entire family to view a property, it's a nightmare. Believe me, with an extended family, if you have to travel from one location to another with children to see a flat, you literally... Today, the buying cycle is between 9 to 12 months. This can actually reduce the buying cycle very drastically, because you can sit at your home, look at 10 different properties, whichever you like, do the final visit and close.
So tell me something. Obviously, technology is completely about the vision. Is the vision here with this product, and these are very early days, is the vision here that I will one day have all the listings on this app, so I don't even have to use the website anymore. I just sit and use the app at home and I know what I'm looking for?
It could be a probability, because mobile is one of the biggest revolution, and virtual reality is the next revolution. So we are already in the middle of the mobile revolution, but everyone across the globe, right from Facebook, Google, everyone's working on virtual reality. We at Common Flow brought this first to India so that we can benefit from the technology right away, and it works on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so tell me this: where do I get the Retina device from? Where do I get the rest of it?
So basically, if the device itself is a cardboard specification made from Google, this is available currently on Flipkart, and we'll have more distribution channels
what
available.
Does it cost?
It costs $9.99.
Okay.
You can order; it gets delivered to your home. Then you can go to the App Store, download the project-specific app. So if you are looking for, let's assume Shobha Indraprastha, one of the projects that we have already on board, you can just download the app. Switch on the app, put it into the device, and have a look.
That app is currently not. It's only on Android phones.
It's on the Android phones.
The view of the entire building can be seen from here.
So it's currently on the Android phones. We are working on the technology to bring it, and also limited to phones like Nexus 4, Nexus 5, S4, S5, MI3, your Motorola second generation. But we'll soon have it for all Android devices and followed by iPhone. So that's what we are working on.
All right. Before I let you go, and since you're here and you have access to so much data, and you have your pulse on what's going on in the market, tell us very quickly what your outlook is on 2015 right now, in terms of, we know it's a soft market, but from your customers' point of view and the clicks you're getting on the website, what is that data telling you?
So we did a survey at the beginning of the year to understand the consumer sentiments, close to 1,000 people survey. What we realized, the people still cautious, but they really want to make decision. More than 51% of the respondents actually said they would actually buy a property in 2015. And right now they are looking for the right match. They are waiting and watching and looking at the market, but definitely everyone wants to buy property. That's what the trend is.
And if everyone wants to buy property, this is going to be really useful one day. This is a fantastic experience for me, at least. I'm going to try and see if I can keep this. Thank you so much, Vikas, for coming into the studio. I wish you all the very best with this, and I hope you continue to innovate
Thank you. Thank you, Faye. Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure to have you in the
Same
studio.
here.
Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you have questions, you can write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Stay with ET Now. Come back next week for more advice on property.